All right, guys, little story time on the guy who changed my business's life, and he still sells on Amazon to this day. Maybe I'll get him on the YouTube channel one day. But what advice he told me that really allowed me to go from, at that time, a $20,000 a month seller to 60, 70, and one day a $100,000 a month seller. And it was literally all thanks to this guy's advice. And it was so stupid and simple, you are gonna kick yourself to how dumb it is. Well, and before we go into the tip that actually changed my business, you might wanna know, like, how the heck did I meet this guy? So meeting this one person literally changed the business direction, and it took me from potentially a stalemate to explosion over growth. That's the importance of community and leverage. When you have a community, when you're able to join groups that have sellers in them, and those people, whether they're big sellers or small sellers, can literally change your mind. We're all unique with our thoughts. We all have different ways of seeing things, and collaboration is the best way to get forward as a new seller. And that's why I have a Skool community that you can join. It's not in there where I met him, but I did do that because that's how it changed my life, guys. My life changed because of community and the advice I got from the other sellers around me. So that's why I wanted to start a community of my own. It's 100% free. I'm not going to talk about more. Link is in the description. We have weekly calls actually going down today if you watch it on release. Anyways, I met him through community, and I actually wanted him to be on one of my podcasts that I made earlier years ago. And well, he told me, before we go into a podcast, let's go out for dinner. Let's talk about your journey and my journey too. And meeting the guy was actually crazy. Guy does 3 million on Amazon per year. His volume is completely insane. He has his own warehouse in Montreal that he does all his stock out of. I do from my little 5plex. He's really inspirational. And when I met him, like I said, I was only like doing $20,000 a month. He made me realize that this game is a game about zeros. And what does that mean, a game about zeros? When I was finding profitable products, right, I knew how to source. You might know how to source. The game is not special. Amazon is not a special game. And why I say it's a game about zeros is because when I had mentioned him about how I find leads and the quantity of leads that I find, he pulled up his SellerAmp and showed me that he had searched less listings than me. He had started selling after me, and he was already in the millions of sales. So I asked him, like, how the heck are you doing that? And when he told me, like, okay, when you're going to buy leads, what are you going for? And I go, well, listen, I see it sells 20 times a month, 30 times a month. I'm doing a test order of 5 to 10, and I'm happy with that. And I'm replanning and trying to keep everything in stock. And he mentioned, well, what if you add a zero? Right? What an easy thing. And I what do you mean? What if I had a zero? He goes, how much are you spending on inventory in a month? And I go, well, I'm spending around, at the time, I think it was a few thousand. He goes, why don't you add a zero? Right? If it was 2,000, why don't you buy $20,000 worth of inventory? Right? You know what you're doing. And I said, well, I don't have the money to do $20,000 worth of inventory. And that's kind of where he taught me, well, okay, listen, you have two choices. Either you go into your savings and invest more into Amazon because you're doing it. You're flipping products. You have your proof of concept. Why not just add a zero? And that really got me thinking a lot. And I was like, okay, but what if I can do a mix, invest some of my personal money that I had put aside, that I already had put money into Amazon, but it was, hey, let me take more money, put it in, let me get a little bit of line of credit so we can actually add a zero at the end of how much we were spending. And that was actually it. I wanted to start spending $20,000 a month in inventory. And that also means add a zero to how many units you buy, right? If you're going to buy 2 units, 3 units for a test order, and they all sell very quick, well, add a zero, order 10. And that one sells extremely quick. Now, I'm not saying to go and buy 100, but the concept of add a zero is scale. Don't be afraid to scale aggressively. And that means applying more money. And that's the only way you're going to explode in this business, guys. The reality is, if you want to do this full time and have full-time income, well, you need to be investing full-time capital, right? So that is $30,000, $40,000 worth of inventory. Now, how do you get there? From day one, you're not going to be able to invest $30,000, $40,000. I get it. It's unrealistic. But what you could do is when you start selling, and you start selling maybe a few thousand every single month, every profit that you get from that, reinvest it. Reinvest it. You work a 9 to 5, take a small percentage of that paycheck, reinvest it into your business. Doing that will allow your capital to grow. And then maybe one day you'll be comfortable enough to get maybe like a little $10,000 line of credit, right? And then you can start buying inventory and scaling how much you're purchasing to get to the point where now you're selling 40, 50, 60,000 in a month. And it's not impossible, guys. My business back in August, I was doing 90% US selling, and I had to switch to purely 100% Canadian as domestic because Trump blocked border transactions due to tariffs. And I did it, guys. Last month in October, I did $70,000 worth of sales. It's not impossible. You just need to apply the method of adding a zero. And that just means aggressively scaling everything you do. Add a zero on how much time you spend sourcing. Add a zero to everything. All right, guys?